Khalistanis, the Sri Shiva Vishnu temple at Karam Downs was trashed by Khalistan supporters just days after anti-India and anti-Hindu graffiti was smeared on the walls of the Babs Swaminarayan Mandir at Mill Park. This came to notice on Monday when devotees came for darshan as the 3-day-long Thai Pongal festival is being celebrated in the Tamil Hindu community. So as they came to the temple, they saw these aspects of vandalizing and a certain effect to deface the temple, attempt to deface the temple. Jitarth Bhardwaj, editor of the Australia Today, is with us. Alok Bansalji, director, India Foundation, also joining us. Jitarth, once again, they are desperate. They're getting no traction, but they are targeting Hindu temples. And why so? Why should they do this? And is there going to be any hard action that will be taken? Have these vandals been caught in the act on CCTV? Some details from you.
Yes, Narasimha, there is CCTV footage of these goons while they were writing these graffitis on Shiva Vishnu temple. Police has collected it from the temple authorities, and there are a number of big stores on the street where this temple is situated. So police has also contacted them about the CCTV footage. But the question why they have done it at this point in time, I must tell you that on 15th Sunday, there was a Khalistan car rally performed in, there was call, but only hardly 200 people came there after the call by Khalistani supporters was made. So they were very upset about the incident that their car rally could not be generate the numbers what they would have anticipated. So on the same night, these goons went on to write on walls of the Shiva Vishnu temple, 26 January, Delhi D-Day. Now, I have been sent a video from this Gurpat Wan Singh Pannu's team, and the same 26 January D-Day, Delhi D-Day has been propagated there. So it's exactly the same slogans which is there in the video which have been done on the Shiva Vishnu temple. They are calling, this Pannu's video is calling for people to put a flag of Khalistan on 26 January at the Red Fort. And for that, I can tell you, he is announcing a bounty of $500,000. This is the reason, and as I have told you, Nasima, before that, Gurpat Pannu is here in Melbourne. He's doing a press conference cum seminar where...
No, but the point is, Jitarth, simple question. If this is a video that has come from him, if he's inciting hate, if he's inciting secession, why are the Australian authorities allowing it? Is Australia a place where such individuals can touch down and then they can propagate hate, propagate separation, secession, and also challenge the sovereignty of another nation?
This is very surprising, Nasiman. He should not be allowed here in Australia. In previous cases, people who propagate hate have been deported from the airport itself. But this is very surprising that Labour Albanese government is allowing such a thing, despite Australia and India being very close security partners, Quad members, fellow Quad members. It is very surprising, and a lot of people, security analysts are seeing it with amused that he's coming in Melbourne and doing all these dramas. It wouldn't have possible unless government is looking on the other side. And there are murmurs that somewhere American security apparatus, which is called Deep State, that has worked its charm somewhere within Australian authorities, and that they are letting it happen here on Australian soil.
Wait. You know, I have a bit of a personal connect with this Shiva Vishnu temple at Karam Downs, because when I was in Melbourne in 2022, I did visit this temple, and it's been beautifully constructed, and largely it's the Tamil community there which hails both from Sri Lanka and also from India, which has built this temple. Is there a reaction from the temple authorities? They're very, very strict about protocol. They and that entire community is very peaceful in that entire region. So is there any word heard from the temple authorities and the temple management?
Temple management is saying they're just dismayed. I mean, they were saying that we are trying to put our focus towards our Pongal festival and the Ekadashi festival, which just happened yesterday. That's why even the cleaning of the graffiti hasn't happened as yet. That will be starting tomorrow sometime. But the one word which they defined it was they are sad and dismayed by the ugly portrayal of hate towards Australian Hindu community.
Yeah, absolutely. Jitat, please stay with me. I'm just bringing in Alok Bansalji also. Alokji, you've heard the details. Jitat was the one who actually brought to the fore the defacing and the vandalism at the Bap Swaminarayan temple. That's also in Melbourne. This is the Shiva Vishnu temple, a very unique temple, very beautifully built and very, very steadfastly maintained by the temple management. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also visited this temple when he visited Australia back in 2014, if I remember, and those pictures are also there somewhere in the entire area of the temple region, Alokji. But my question to you is, Alokji, why should such elements be allowed on foreign soil? How is it that such elements are tolerated with? Will Australia tolerate such entities talking about secession and challenging the sovereignty of Australia on Indian soil? Will the West keep quiet? Will this entire lobby that talks about human rights and respecting sovereignty of nations and democracies, will it stand up and will it tolerate this if it were to happen in their nations?
See,
Why is this being? Why are
understand-
these terrorists being allowed? He's the most wanted terrorist. He's on the hit list for India. He's a wanted man in India.
See, firstly, I think we need to understand that these so-called Khalistanis, their attempts to whip up emotions in the form of a rally actually failed miserably. And after failing miserably, I think they have their masters which sit across the borders and different parts of the world have actually instigated them to do something. And they are doing this sort of a provocative thing to elicit a reaction. To my mind, Australian government should have acted, because when you when you are vandalizing Hindu temples, you are actually affecting the sentiments of Hindus who are Australian citizens as well. There is a large diaspora of Indians living in Australia. There are large number of Fijian Indians who are actually living in Australia. There are, of course, Sri Lankan Tamils. You have a large diaspora, and most of them have Australian citizenship. So it is, I think, incumbent upon the Australian government to crack down upon such vandalization, because it instigates their population. It instigates division within their population. It instigates violence in Australia. And I think Australian government must crack down. I also feel that this is actually rather amazing that Australian government has not cracked down on such elements, and those who are espousing hate, violence and secession. I think it's time that the Australian government cracks down at such elements, and should have been done by now.
Such people have been given visas. Despite him being listed as a most wanted terrorist in India, he's got a visa and entry visa into and entry into Australia. Isn't that surprising? And shouldn't we pick it up diplomatically? He's listed. He's a wanted man. He's been designated a terrorist by India.
Undoubtedly, I think Indian MEA should take up this case. We should also take it up with Interpol and get a red corner notice issued against him, so that it becomes incumbent upon Australia to arrest him. I think we need to take it further and try and do so that such elements cannot move around freely from one country to another, from Canada to Australia, Australia to Canada, or things like that. And I think these countries should clamp down on this, and diplomatically we should put pressure on Australia. I think with the change of government, the Australian stance probably is changing slightly, but I think in government of India must bring it out to the notice of Australians that this sort of things are unacceptable. And I think Australians must be persuaded, because Australia and India are part of the Quad. We keep harping about Quad, and if Quad has to take off, then I think this sort of irritants have to get away.
Let me ask Jitat Bhartwaj this. Has the Melbourne police taken cognizance? Has a formal complaint been lodged? Are they in the hunt for these vandals? Have they even identified who vandalized at the Bap Swaminarayan temple?
As the movement, Nasima, I can tell you, Police is just treating it not as hate crime but as a graffiti vandal act. For that, they don't put much of their resources. Seriousness of Victoria Police can be described. They took almost 2 days to issue a statement on this incident. And since this morning, I have been trying to push them for a statement. They are not providing any information whether they are able to do something or not. Unofficially, we are able to get some info from our sources. However, the lackluster structure of their understanding towards these hate crimes is just deplorable. I don't know, Victorian government understands that the kind of distress it brings to Australian Hindu community, especially at the time of religious festivals. I'm not sure.
Let me just ask you, will the Melbourne police have reacted the same had it been some other religious structure or institution, a non-Hindu religious structure or institution? Would the reaction have been the same?
The simple answer is no. They would have been up and down. There would have been assistant commissioner or deputy commissioner standing right in front of the institution and talking to them and making them understand that they will do anything in their power to bring the culprits to face the law. But this time around, Hindu community has been writing letters to ministers, to the government officials. However, there is no assurance. There is a Victorian Multicultural Commission. The head of commission have not spoken a word against what has happened to 2 Hindu temples. And this
but that is unfortunate, Alok Bansalji. That means, are you saying that just because you follow procedure, you are peace-loving, you follow protocol, and you make requests politely, you can be junked? So should India be taken lightly like this? Should Hindu population be taken so lightly? Should the Indian diaspora be taken so lightly by the Australian authorities? Or should we make them understand that when we behave, that means you also behave. You respect that behavior.
I think the Indian envoy to Canberra and consulates in Sydney and other places, Melbourne, etc., should take up this case with the Australian government. And we must highlight that Hindus are not only Indian diaspora, there are Hindus in Australia who have come from different parts of the world. And I think Australian Hindu Foundation or Federation must do a peaceful demonstration so that the Australian authorities, especially the Victorian authorities, understand that Hindus are dismayed by this act. Because keeping quiet would make them feel that there is nothing happening, actually, as been brought out, that they have taken it as a graffiti and vandalization or something rather than a religious provocation, a grave act of provocation. So I think that protest march or something whereby people come to know that yes, Hindus are dismayed by this act of the somebody, and I think that would be a worthwhile thing. I think the Hindu federations in Melbourne must take out a protest march or something so that the government realizes the gravity of this crime.
Well, I thank you. I thank you, Jitarji, for joining us. I'm going to request Alok Bansalji to stay on. We are quickly moving on here on the Nation at 5. We've got big news coming in closer home, ladies and gentlemen. Breaking news on the Jahangirpuri terror bust. This is a CNN News 18 exclusive where we get you the inside details of the terror suspects and their connection with Pak terrorists and also Canada-based gangsters. 2 terror suspects have been arrested so far for mutilating a man. This happened in Jahangirpuri. The victim was beheaded on camera and the body was chopped into 8 pieces. The suspects actually recorded the crime and sent it to their Pak handlers. Intelligence sources are saying that Naushad was ordered to kill a kafir. So the person was his handler on the other side using the social media platform Telegram. His name was Sohail. He actually said, I want you to kill a kafir and show me. This is the information that we have. The cops have actually accessed the video. They have accessed the entire video where they are shown. They are actually showing how they killed a Hindu boy, a 21-year-old, mutilated him and chopped him into 8 pieces. The intel sources are saying that the suspects plan to target Sangh figures in Haridwar. Delhi cops are now looking for 4 more suspects who are linked to these Pak handlers. They are also part of that same group. The lens is on 4 suspects who received Pak weapons in Uttarakhand. Police sources are saying that the suspects contacted handlers via Telegram and the Signal app. So two apps were used, Telegram and Signal. Naushad is originally from Bihar but has always lived in Jahangirpuri. Naushad has 4 or 5 cases of murder against him. He's a history sheeter in terms of crime. Naushad conspired to release Masood Azhar from Tihar back in 97-98. So he's also been on the terror radar. He conspired to release Masood Azhar from Tihar between 97 and 98. Naushad was released from jail in 2018, stayed in touch with Pak handlers, and Naushad connected with nexus of Canada-based gangster Arshdeep Gill in jail. Naushad was able to jump parole with the help of Arshdeep Gill's lawyers. So these are the details that we've got. Arshdeep Gill's lawyers helped Naushad jump parole and get out of jail. He was in jail for conspiring to even eject Masood Azhar from Tihar back in 97-98. It was a failed attempt then. Alok Bansal, Director, India Foundation with us, and Ellen Rao, Advocate and former DCP Delhi, also with us. Namaste again, gentlemen. Alok ji, thank you for staying back. This is a serious concern. How did this man slip the intel radar? How is it that these people, after serving time, continue to remain in touch with their Pak handlers? And how are they so far gone, so far radicalized, that they will make a video of killing a person who they call kafir? It's a Hindu boy, an Indian citizen, a fellow citizen, who they have beheaded, mutilated, and done it on video.
Anand, there are several issues that crop up from this particular case. Firstly, of course, the anti-terrorism cell or ATC of Delhi police needs to be complimented for arresting them. But at the same time, a person who was involved in conspiring to get Masood Azhar out, was known to have links with ISI, remained under the radar of the intelligence agencies, is actually extremely shocking to me, because this chap should have been a prime suspect for anyone. And this also highlights the thing that how motivated these terrorists can become, and how they can be brainwashed that they could indulge in such a ghastly act. And this brings me to that issue which I have been highlighting time and again, that we need to look at radicalization. And in fact, we need to de-radicalize, and for de-radicalize we need a concerted campaign, because these people are brainwashed to the extent where they would do anything if their handlers tell them, because they have been convinced that what they are doing is right, and they have been brainwashed to that extent. And this brainwashing is part of a carefully calibrated campaign. And I think we have seen the clearest manifestation of how brainwashed these people are, that they are willing to kill an innocent boy just to please their masters, because they have been led to believe that. And I think this is a serious incident, and we must take cognizance, because this also tells us that ISI is desperately making an attempt to bring Islamist terrorist organizations along with Khalistani terrorist organizations, and trying to link them up. And this is the clearest manifestation of two different streams of terror coming together to fight the Indian state.
No, not just that. They're playing this dirty K2 game, Kashmir and Khalistan, and they are trying to play this game very dirtily. They're also trying to wean Sikhi away from Hinduism in terms of the soft narrative. And those Islamists who actually beheaded Sikhs, and those Sikhs who actually stood to defend India against these Islamists, they are trying to say that this is the same grouping. So all kinds of narratives, soft and hard, are being spun. But Ellen Rauji, Jahangirpuri, 2020, the riots, it was the hub of all of that. How is it that such an area and these people operating there were missed by the Delhi police and the intelligence radar?
Let me tell you, this is not actually missed. I must compliment the special cell and the intelligence agencies to trace them out, because they were mixed up in the population of Jahangirpuri, like that, as I have listened to so many videos about the residents of that area, that they were saying that they were living just like a normal person, very civilized like person. And I have a history, I have my experience, I can say, when we arrested some terrorists in Kanpur, they were also living in the same way. They live in that area, take a rented premises, and they behave like a very, very good gentleman. And this is their modus operandi to act from that area. and during that period when they are staying there, they recce that area and they do whatever they want to do in that area. But again, the hats off to the intelligence agencies. They could take out they could trace out them, and their nefarious activities have been exposed. And one more thing I have to say that these type of gangs, definitely they are being handled by either from the foreign countries like England, or their handlers are in Pakistan. They have a tendency of doing the criminal crime and getting the photograph and sell it to their akas in their ISI linked Pakistan, so that they can get money out of them. That in this case,
you are saying, yes, to a certain extent I agree with you that despite so much of camouflage and subterfuge, the intelligence agencies were able to pick this up, but it also was at the cost of a 21-year-old. What was the fault of that 21-year-old? Just because that 21-year-old was a Hindu, so he deserved to be beheaded, culled and made videos of? These are cases which are happening on a daily basis, Mr. L.N. Rao. How can the cops be blind to something like this? Is that not a concern on ground, sir? Is that not a concern on ground that every day we are getting cases of inducement of Hindu girls being ensnared into this one? There are young boys who are being either ensnared, killed. There are also Muslim boys, youngsters who are being radicalized, and there are elements who have actually jumped parole. This man tried to get Masood Azhar out of jail in 97, 98. I'm sure somebody should have been keeping an eye on his activities after he was out of jail.
Yes, that's the important aspect of this thing, and a very heinous gruesome crime cannot be ignored like this. And this is a serious matter and cannot be pardoned by any corner of this our law agencies. And that, as you are also right that the person who was then bail he was released from jail, and then he acted this the gruesome crime. That is to be seen. But at the same time, there is a system in policing that the hardcore criminals, whenever they are released on bail, they should be kept a watch over there. I think that some agency must have been keeping a watch over them. They might miss out his activities like this, and that the gruesome murder of an innocent person, innocent Indian, because of the radicalization of these terrorists, that cannot be any excuse by taking all these.
No, because there are 2-3 points of concern, Alok Bansalji. One is that there are individuals or groups who feel that they can pick up somebody, kill that person, mutilate them, behead them, drop their things, and they can get away with it. The fact that they think they can get away with it is a cause for concern. That they are caught is another aspect. But the fact that they think they can get away with it in Delhi, in the national capital, is a cause for concern. The other part is that you are damned if you do and if you are damned if you don't. If the cops pick up somebody because they believe this person is radicalized, all the human rights activists and the courts will jump at them saying, just because you think they are radicalized doesn't mean they have committed an act. And if they commit an act, then we turn around and ask them, why didn't you stop them before they commit the act?
About it that this is a serious issue, because many a times these people have been apprehended, and just because their conduct in the eyes of their neighborhood was good, so people say, why have they been apprehended? And I think this fact needs to be highlighted. This needs to be highlighted, that a sleeper cell member behaves just like an ordinary citizen. In fact, he or she would appear to be even more civilized than the neighbors. But they are doing that because of an agenda. They have an agenda to fulfill. And I think all the so-called human rights organizations, etc., who have been shouting when people have been apprehended for acts of terrorism should take cognizance of this. And there is no doubt that the ATS or whoever apprehended them has done a good job. But it is a failure of our regular policing. The beat constable, whose job is to look actually at the neighborhood. How could a individual be killed inside a flat and videographed without anybody coming to know, without neighborhood knowing, without anybody else knowing? These are the issues that I think that we need to pay attention to.
Well,
there
the
was
fact
a
is
time
that
when Delhi police used
Aftab killed Shraddha Walker, nobody knew. The neighbors also did not get wind of it. It is just that they stumbled upon it 6-8 months later. So there are some serious issues that are happening, but at various levels, we need to take cognizance of what's happening around us, and we need to be aware and very, very alert to this very clear and present danger amongst us. Thank you for your inputs, Ellen Rao and Alok Bansal. We're going to take a very short break here on The Nation at 5. Stay with us.
Gujarat big, they won Uttar Pradesh, they won 4 out of 5 states in the assembly elections. And in 2023, where you have 9 states going to polls, it's primarily Congress versus BJP.
Yeah, Zaka, I think there will be one section of the opposition which will continue to mock Rahul Gandhi for being a non-serious politician. But they also have to now, I think, recalibrate their way of, mocking him, because he has made the effort. He has got out of that comfort zone that he was in. He has undertaken this yatra. Now, if this is the 10th, 15th, 20th time that he's going to be repositioned and put forward before the electorate, that's for the Congress to do. But one thing is certain, that if there was a sense of status within the party, Rahul Gandhi has managed to shake them out of that. Okay. He was not expected to do it, because he is the reason why there was a status in the party, because there was no president, there was no vice president, he was going on vacation, he was not really a serious person. Priyanka Gandhi was there, not there, nobody knew what was going on. But with this Bharat Jodo, at least within the Congress ranks, there seems to be a sense of purpose, and better late than never. If they are the ones who are going to be taking on the BJP in over 200 seats across the country as the principal opposition there, then I think it's about time that they got their act together. That having been said, today's roadshow, which you began by talking about what the Prime Minister was doing, if the Congress is to say that the Prime Minister is trying to replicate what Rahul Gandhi is doing, no. Because this is something that the BJP has always done, which is roadshows, right? From the days of Advani to Murli Manohar Joshi to everybody, the party knows how to do this, how to do yatras and roadshows, and the nature of interaction that a Prime Minister has, he cannot go among the people because of security reasons, whoever the Prime Minister is. So hence, roadshows become a necessity for the Prime Minister to do this. They have lost Himachal. They're not going to take that easy. You listed out this whole, the number of elections that they have won, but they will also concentrate on the reason for the losses. So there'll be a whole lot of this Chintan Manthan that they do to find out the reason.
In Sinha, you heard what Jairam Ramesh said, that the Prime Minister's roadshow was in response to the humongous response that Rahul Gandhi is getting during the Bharat Jodo Yatra. Are you nervous that 2024, and we're 15 months away, may not be as much of a easy cakewalk as 2019 and 2014 were?
Good evening, Zaka. Zaka, Rahul Gandhi's yatra is a yatra without a cause. So Bharat Jodo is anything but Bharat Jodo. We barely took out a couple of hours of yatra, which was mainly for thanksgiving to the people of the country who have consistently supported the party, and further reassuring them that we will be consistently there for them. The difference between the BJP and the opposition is very clear today. The BJP wants to take India into 2047 as a true Vishwaguru. The opposition is desperate to take India back to the days of 1990s of Bihar, and the only motive is self-aggrandizement. There are 4 things basically which define the present opposition. One is brazen corruption, whether it is Rahul Gandhi, who's out on bail in the National Herald case, or Lalu Yadav and his family, who, sooner than later, law will catch up with them in the IRCTC land case. Number 2, Hindu bashing. Today, I'm challenging Rahul Gandhi to take a stand against Chandrasekhar, the guy, the minister in Bihar, who has repeatedly been on a diatribe against the Hindu community, who has been abusing Ramcharitramanas. Can Rahul Gandhi or any opposition leader take a stand on that? No, they can't. Third, obviously, is the freebie politics. just without any sense of the economics involved, Rahul Gandhi and other opposition leaders want to promise the moon without realizing that their own financial, the person, Montek Ahluwalia, who was one of the mainstays of the economic policies of between 2004 to 2014, he has been principally opposed to the same freebie politics.
Okay, so let me ask Dr. Ajay Kumar, I'll get to the issues in 1 second, but the fact is, Dr. Ajay Kumar, the BJP and the Prime Minister are in numero uno position for 2024, not least because of the recent assembly election results that we've seen in Gujarat, for example. After almost 30 years in power, the BJP comes back with the biggest majority yet. The previous round of assembly elections earlier in 2022, the BJP wins 4 out of 5 states, including the biggest in the country, Uttar Pradesh. What gives you confidence that the Congress will be able to put up a challenge, and specifically Rahul Gandhi will be able to put up a challenge in 2024, given what happened in 2019 and in 2014?
So, Zaka, a couple of things before my colleague from the Bharatiya Janata Party. When they give freebies or whatever they call it, they said free vaccine and kept, as if the people of India don't pay tax. And the Prime Minister and the poster all across the country. And when they were giving these vaccines, for them, when they were giving the vaccines, it's, they think it's not a freebie. When they give free electricity, they promise free electricity, they promise different kinds of food, grain. They put posters saying that the Prime Minister is giving you free food, 5 kgs per people. So it's shameful. The second issue is, why doesn't the Prime Minister speak and Mr. Amit Shah speak against why ask Mr. Rahul Gandhi? If you have so much of guts, ask Prime Minister to speak against the minister in Bihar. So don't keep preaching to other people. First ask your leaders to speak against them and see what will happen in Bihar. The third issue, which is most important, is, look, Zaka, if you and everybody on the panel, look at it that the Prime Minister and the leaders of this government, posters all over the place. If you go to any developed country, Vishwaguru 2047 and kind of statement my colleague makes. Interesting. Is it a Vishwaguru to put posters of your Prime Minister everybody, or is it like Uzbekistan or Uzbekistan or Azerbaijan and all these countries, which have dictatorship and all? This is the only one of these South Asian countries where you continue to see, you want to be Vishwaguru, but you do all things which go against a Vishwaguru. Third issue, if we are Vishwaguru, then why is it in 2023 a scheduled caste boy gets beaten up in Uttar Kashi for entering a temple and none of these BJP leaders speak about it? What is this Vishwaguru?
No,
we are
diverging from the topic at hand, which is that 2024, the electoral battle for 2024. Have the lines been drawn today with the roadshow and then, of course, the Bharat Jodo that's been there for the last 100+ days now? I want to ask, let me ask Mr. Prakash, one thing that opposition leaders, as well as some in the BJP, may privately admit, that Bharat Jodo seems to have changed Mr. Rahul Gandhi's image somewhat. He's not derisively sort of joked about, he's not
Back on the Nation at 5 with news coming through right now. The United Nations has warned Pakistan on the rising crimes against minorities. The multilateral organization has raised an alarm over the rise in recent abductions, forced marriages and conversions of underage girls and young women from religious minority communities. The UN has cited reports where such marriages and conversions take place with involvement of religious authorities, adding that the courts have misused interpretations of religious law to justify victims remaining with their abusers. The UN has also slammed Pakistan police for not taking such cases seriously and not protecting minorities from radicals. The UN has said Pak authorities must take appropriate steps to deter such crimes. This comes just 3 days after CNN News 18 highlighted the plight of minorities, and also what the Commission has very clearly stated is the treatment of minorities in Pakistan. Non-Muslims in Pakistan, more than 9,000 missing cases, and majority of them from the minority community, largely Hindus, some Sikh, and also 1,000 persons who have been reported missing or dead in Balochistan. We've got Abhishek Jha joining us. It's a big slap on the face for a nation which tries to use the best platforms in the world to wax eloquent on minority rights, etc., and how minorities are being treated in the neighborhood, but has a sorry record themselves with a dwindling population of minorities in the last 70 years.
Of course, Anand, and we have seen even today when Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif was having an interaction with a news channel, he raised the issue of human rights violation from Indian side in the Kashmir. But looking back in his own domestic issues, there have been multiple incidences of Hindu minority community being persecuted by almost a very organized setup where the radicals, in the name of Islamization and converting these underage girls and then marrying them off with elder people. Police have not taken any concrete action or any solid action to deter those elements from the society to from intimidating these minority communities. In fact, there is a report that police have been complicit on various occasions for all those forcible conversions that has taken place in Pakistan, especially of Hindu minority girls.
Well, this is a nation cornered from all sides, exposed. They have nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. We got a series of news breaks coming in from Pakistan in this segment of the nation at 5. Abhishek, stay on with us. This is trouble brewing in Quetta. Now, we've got news coming through, a CNN News 18 exclusive, where civil rights have been totally curbed in Quetta. The Corps Commander Balochistan, Asif Ghafoor, visited Gwadar after crackdowns and arrests, threatening swift arrests against protesters if port operations are affected. Protesters were on the streets of Gwadar last year due to what they said were the state's unfulfilled promises. After talks with the government broke down in late December, the administration and demonstrators faced off in violent confrontation. We brought you visuals where there were soldiers firing at random, firing at will, despite being asked to desist. They were trying to disperse protesters by aiming at them and treating them like cannon fodder. The other aspect is with the locals having a brush with the Pakistan military and also with the rangers who are posted there and the cops posted there. Plenty of visuals of protesters. Abhishek Jha with us. Now, Gwadar being very, very significant for China and for Pakistan. But at this Gwadar region, in this entire region of Quetta, there are huge protests by the local Baloch because their rights are being curbed.
So, in the name of development, China has ensured that billions of dollars are invested in that CPEC project, including that Gwadar port that China is developing. And we have seen in the past there have been multiple attacks on Chinese citizens, the Chinese engineers who are working alongside that project. And to secure them, to give them a safe stay in Pakistan, at the cost of its own citizens, Pakistan has established multiple checkpoints along that route where Baloch, the local population, are having a lot of difficulties in their day-to-day life. Also, the kind of investment that is coming in through CPEC and Gwadar Port development is not translating in the upliftment of their life. The inflationary pressure is as high. The basic amenities like health, education, medical aid, these are not being made available to this population. And in the past also they had done these cities where after a lot of negotiation, Pakistani government has assured them of some steps that will be taken. But now they have again alleged that those steps, those promises have remained unfulfilled. And this is why they have again started doing these sit-ins, which has been for almost 2 months now, 52 days. And now, after their strong protest, Pakistan is again, rather than being sympathetic to their cause, they are trying to silence them by force. And this is when Asif Ghafoor has traveled to that area, and he has in a way intimidated people for not protesting. And in case they do it, they will face a lot of brute force from the Pakistani.
Well, stay on with us, Abhishek. We've got more news coming through. More news coming through. We're in a big win for India. The UN Security Council, just days after the Indian Foreign Minister Subramaniam Jaishankar shamed Pakistan in an interview with Austria ORF and called them the epicenter of terror and said that I'm being very, very charitable in using this adjective or this word that is epicenter. The UN Security Council has stamped on the same. It's a big win because the right hand of Hafiz Saeed, the co-plotter of the 26/11 Mumbai attacks, wanted for more than 5 to 6, masterminding 5 to 6 terror attacks on Indian soil. The treasurer of the Lashkar-e-Taiba, the deputy chief of the Jamaat-ud-Dawa, Abdul Rahman Makki, who's also somewhere related by marriage to Hafiz Saeed, has now been designated a global terrorist. And this time around, China has not exercised its veto or its technical hold. And that puts Pakistan right under the spotlight of terror yet again. Previous bids by India and a joint bid by the US and India could not ensure enlistment of Makki as China put a technical hold in June 2022. But in nearly 10 months, things have changed and China has backed out. China has kept the hold for the last 6 months, but releasing it now, paving the way for a UN Security Council sanction. Among other terror cases, Makki has also been involved in raising funds, recruiting and radicalizing youth and planning attacks in India, particularly in Jammu and Kashmir. India has reacted to Makki's listing as well. MEA spokesperson Arindam Bagchi during a press briefing said that India welcomes the step and will continue to pursue a zero-tolerance approach to terrorism. Listen in.
We welcome the decision of the UN Security Council's ISI and Al-Qaeda Sanctions Committee to list Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorist Abdul Rahman Makki, who is also the brother-in-law of LET leader Hafiz Saeed. Makki has occupied various leadership roles in the LET, including raising funds for the organization. Threats from terrorist organizations in the region remain high, and listings and sanctions by the UN Security Council are an effective tool to curb such threats and dismantle terror infrastructure in the region. India remains committed to pursuing a zero-tolerance approach to terrorism and will continue to press the international community to take credible, verifiable, and irreversible action against terrorism.
Well, Abhishek Jha is live with us. Abhishek, now we know for sure Abdul Rahman Makki is on Pak soil. Pak claims he's on house arrest because they have courts have found him guilty on charges of money laundering. But now he's a globally designated terrorist. And if they continue to harbor and shield him, Pakistan then faces fresh sanctions and fresh review scrutiny by the FATF.
Clearly, Pakistan has acted in past against all those individuals. India has always said that we have been involved in terrorist activities inside India, but the charges under which they are being put under house arrest or behind the bars are very frivolous charges of money laundering or charges that does not actually designate them as individuals involved in heinous crimes related to terrorism activities. Even now, Rahman Makki has been under house arrest because of the money laundering charges. The terrorist charges, the charges of being mastermind of one of the most brazen terrorist attack on Indian soil on 26/11 in Bombay, where almost 175 individuals were killed, is not something that is put against him. But now, when the world has actually acknowledged the fact that this individual has been related with multiple terrorist activities, and he should be put in that proscribed list where the most dreaded terrorists of the world are sitting. Pakistan will have a lot to answer why for 14 years this person was walking in the streets of Pakistan scot-free, and why Pakistan did not take any concrete action against individuals, including Rahman Makki and others who have been part of mega terrorist nexus in Pakistan.
Well, Abhishek, just stay on with us. In the meantime, the Pak Prime Minister, in an interview to Al Arabia, has tried to once again use a softer tone because they are cornered from all sides. They have nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Financial doldrums, the epicenter of terror. Their provinces on the verge of civil unrest. There is absolute poverty, the shortage of food supplies. They are in real doldrums, Pakistan. And while speaking with Al Arabia, trying to strike a softer note, saying he wants peace with India, but not giving up the Kashmir rhetoric. So what have they learned from the 3 wars that they lost hands down?
India is our neighbor country. We are neighbors. And let's be very blunt. Even if we are not we are not neighbors by choice, but we are there forever. And it is up to us to live peacefully and progress, or quarrel with each other and waste time and resources. That's up to us. Pakistan has learned its lesson. We had 3 wars with India, 3. And the consequence of those wars, as a result, it only brought more miseries, to unemployment,
two nations,
poverty. We have learnt our lesson, and we want to live in peace with India, provided we are able to resolve our genuine problems. My message to the Indian leadership and Prime Minister Modi is that let's sit down on the table and have serious and sincere talks to resolve our burning issues like Kashmir, where flagrant violation of human rights are taking place day in and day out. Ready to have talks, and we are more than ready.
So you are ready for peace?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We are both nuclear powers, armed to the teeth. God forbid, God forbid, God forbid, as a harb, takes place, who will live to tell what happened? So this is not an option.
Well, moving away from that K rhetoric and, of course, never-changing line of the Pakistanis, which India is not now going to fall for at all. Talks and terror don't go hand in hand. News just coming through. Breaking news coming in on India's most wanted Dawood Ibrahim. Alisha Ibrahim Parker, Dawood's nephew, has given fresh insights into the NIA about Dawood. He claims Dawood has moved to a new residence in the defense area of Karachi with full protection from the Pakistani army. These details have come to light in a charge sheet filed by the NIA in a Mumbai court. Now top sources reveal that Parker claims Dawood has remarried. A Pakistani Pathan is now his second wife. Siddhant Mishra now joins us with more details. Yes, Siddhant.
Well, look, Anand, these details are nothing but an addition to an existing dossier which has already been prepared by Indian government, and this dossier has been submitted and has been given away to the international authorities, Interpol, and including Pakistan. But they are always denying Dawood Ibrahim presence in Karachi. This time around again, as I mentioned, that this is nothing new, but the same details again appearing in one of the charge sheets which has been filed by NIA. Now, Anand, what is interesting here is, and the takeaway from the charge sheet is, and the credit should be given to NIA and Ministry of Home Affairs, and especially Home Minister Amit Shah, for giving these powers to NIA to probe underworld related cases. I remember breaking story.
I'm going to interrupt you because we've got a big development coming on another front, and this is on the Anjali murder case. A big development that the Sultanpuri police station now has added Section 302 or charges of murder into the FIR on the Anjali hit and drag case. Now, we are given to understand that the charges of murder have been added in this Anjali hit and drag case. Earlier, the family had claimed it, but now we have confirmation here at CNN News 18 that the charges along with 304, 302, Section 302 has also been added to the Delhi hit and drag case. We'll try and go across to our reporter. Anshul is with us. Yes, Anshul.
So yes, Anand, finally, after the pursuance of the family had been claiming, had been saying, in fact, demanding that 302 should be imposed in this case, and all the 5 accused in this case should be tried under the Section 302. So now, after the recommendation that came from the Home Ministry as well, 302 has finally been imposed in this entire case. Now, all these 5 people would be tried on the charges of murder as well, because we have seen those CCTV footages as well, in which it was very clearly seen that these people actually looked out of the window and they actually saw the body hanging beneath the car as well. So yes, now 302 has finally been imposed and the family is claiming victory at this point in time. They are very, very happy. They are saying that finally their pursuance to ensure
so
that
302, not just Home Ministry recommendation, the statement under CRPC of the eyewitness. There are others who watched what happened. They have also come forth now, and the cops adding this at Sultanpuri police station, adding it to the FIR. The reaction from Anjali's family and kith and kin. Listen in.
नमस्कार, मैं डॉक्टर भूपेन चौरसिया। अभी हम लोग अंजलि के घर पे हैं। आप सबको बताते हुए मुझे बहुत खुशी हो रही है कि अभी मैं और प्रेम मामा जी SHO साहब से मिलके आए हैं और उनके द्वारा हमें ये सूचना दी गई है कि अंजलि के केस में सारे अक्यूजों पे 302 की धारा जो है वो लगा दी गई है। आप सब मीडिया वालों को, सारे चैनल वालों को हम दिल से हाथ जोड़ के अभिनंदन करते हैं कि आपने पहले दिन से हम सबका इतना साथ दिया और आप लोगों के बिना हमारी लड़ाई अधूरी थी। हम सबका जो मेन पर्पस था, मैं भी परिवार से पहले दिन से जुड़ा था और सब लोगों ने बहुत मेहनत की। हम लोग 24 घंटे तक थाने पे भी बैठे। सिर्फ एक ही चीज थी कि 302 लगना चाहिए, अंजलि के सारे हत्यारों को फांसी की सजा होनी चाहिए और परिवार इससे बहुत खुश है। दिल्ली पुलिस ने फाइनली ये जो काम किया है ये सराहना पूर्वक है। अब मैं आपके माध्यम से दिल्ली सरकार से ये निवेदन करना चाहूंगा कि माताजी का स्वास्थ्य दिन पे दिन बहुत बिगड़ रहा है। जो अश्योरिटी वो परिवार को देके गए थे, उनने एक जॉब की भी बात की थी, माताजी के स्वास्थ्य की भी बात की थी, तो वो सारी चीजों पे दिल्ली सरकार ध्यान दे। मैं मनीष सिसोदिया जी आपसे कहना चाहूंगा कि आपके जो भी एमएलए वगैरह हैं जिनका नंबर प्रेम जी के पास है, वो कंटिन्यूसली कॉल कर रहे हैं बट कोई भी उनका फोन नहीं उठा रहा है। परिवार को दिल्ली सरकार ने जो भी आश्वासन
Well, clearly now the family happy that the Delhi police has acceded to their demand, now turning around and asking Arvind Kejriwal and his MLAs to keep up the promise of the Delhi government that was made to Anjali's family by them. Some regret, some concerns being raised there. We're going to take a quick break here on The Nation at 5. Stay with us.
Sense of purpose, and better late than never. If they are the ones who are going to be taking on the BJP in over 200 seats across the country as the principal opposition there, then I think it's about time that they got their act together. That having been said, today's roadshow, which you began by talking about what the Prime Minister was doing, if the Congress is to say that the Prime Minister is trying to replicate what Rahul Gandhi is doing, no. Because this is something that the BJP has always done, which is roadshows, right? From the days of Advani to Murli Manohar Joshi to everybody, the party knows how to do this, how to do yatras and roadshows, and the nature of interaction that a Prime Minister has, he cannot go among the people because of security reasons, whoever the Prime Minister is. So hence, roadshows become a necessity for the Prime Minister to do this. They have lost Himachal. They're not going to take that easy. You listed out this whole, the number of elections that they have won, but they will also concentrate on the reason for the losses. So there'll be a whole lot of this Chintan Manthan that they do to find out the reason.
Insina, you heard what Jairam Ramesh said, that the Prime Minister's roadshow was in response to the humongous response that Rahul Gandhi is getting during the Bharat Jodo Yatra. Are you nervous that 2024, and we're 15 months away, may not be as much of a easy cakewalk as 2019 and 2014 were?
Good evening, Zaka. Rahul Gandhi's yatra is a yatra without a cause. So Bharat Jodo is anything but Bharat Jodo. We barely took out a couple of hours of yatra, which was mainly for thanksgiving to the people of the country who have consistently supported the party and further reassuring them that we will be consistently there for them. The difference between the BJP and the opposition is very clear today. The BJP wants to take India into 2047 as a true Vishwaguru. The opposition is desperate to take India back to the days of 1990s of Bihar, and the only motive is self-aggrandizement. There are four things basically which define the present opposition. One is brazen corruption, whether it is Rahul Gandhi, who's out on bail in the National Herald case, or Lalu Yadav and his family, who, sooner than later, law will catch up with them in the IRCTC land case. Number two, Hindu bashing. Today I'm challenging Rahul Gandhi to take a stand against Chandrasekhar, the guy, the minister in Bihar, who has repeatedly been on a diatribe against the Hindu community, who has been abusing Ramcharitramanas. Can Rahul Gandhi or any opposition leader take a stand on that? No, they can't.
Okay.
Third, obviously, is the freebie politics. Just without any sense of the economics involved, Rahul Gandhi and other opposition leaders want to promise the moon without realizing that their own financial, the person, Montek Ahluwalia, who was one of the mainstays of the economic policies of between 2004 to 2014, he has been principally opposed to the same freebie politics.
Okay, so let me ask Dr. Ajay Kumar, I'll get to the issues in 1 second, but the fact is, Dr. Ajay Kumar, The BJP and the Prime Minister are in numero uno position for 2024, not least because of the recent assembly election results that we've seen in Gujarat, for example. After almost 30 years in power, the BJP comes back with the biggest majority yet. The previous round of assembly elections earlier in 2022, the BJP wins 4 out of 5 states, including the biggest in the country, Uttar Pradesh. What gives you confidence that the Congress will be able to put up a challenge, and specifically Rahul Gandhi will be able to put up a challenge in 2024, given what happened in 2019 and in 2014?
So, Zaka, a couple of things before my colleague from the Bharatiya Janata Party. You know, when they give freebies or whatever they call it, they said free vaccine and kept, as if the people of India don't pay tax. And the Prime Minister and the poster all across the country. And when they were giving these vaccines, for them, when they were giving the vaccines, it's, they think it's not a freebie. When they give free electricity, they promise free electricity, they promise different kinds of food grain. They put posters saying that the Prime Minister is giving you free food, 5 kgs per people. So it's shameful. The second issue is, why doesn't the Prime Minister speak and Mr. Amit Shah speak against why ask Mr. Rahul Gandhi? If you have so much of guts, ask Prime Minister to speak against the minister in Bihar. So don't keep preaching to other people. First ask your leaders to speak against them and see what will happen in Bihar. The third issue, which is most important, is, look, Zaka, if you and everybody on the panel, look at it that the Prime Minister and the leaders of this government, posters all over the place. If you go to any developed country, Vishwaguru 2047 and kind of statement my colleague makes. Interesting. Is it a Vishwaguru to put posters of your Prime Minister everybody, or is it like Uzbekistan or Uzbekistan or Azerbaijan or all these countries, which have dictatorship and all? This is the only one of these South Asian countries where you continue to see, you want to be Vishwaguru, but you do all things which go against a Vishwaguru. Third issue, if we are Vishwaguru, then why is it in 2023 a scheduled caste boy gets beaten up in Uttar Kashi for entering a temple and none of these BJP leaders speak about it? What is this Vishwaguru?
No,
we are
diverging from the topic at hand,
we are not diverging.
Which is that 2024, the electoral battle for 2024. Have the lines been drawn today with the roadshow and then, of course, the Bharat Jodo that's been there for the last 100 plus days now?
No, so,
I want to ask, let me ask Mr. Prakash, one thing that opposition leaders, as well as some in the BJP, may privately admit that Bharat Jodo seems to have changed Mr. Rahul Gandhi's image somewhat. He's not derisively sort of joked about. He's not looked at as someone who is clueless or out of depth. He seems to have, quote unquote, come of age in this yatra. Do you reckon that is a possibility, or that is something that you're seeing on the ground? And how may that translate or not necessarily translate into electoral success? Because like I said, the BJP just won Gujarat big, they won Uttar Pradesh, they won 4 out of 5 states in the assembly elections. And in 2023, where you have 9 states going to polls, it's primarily Congress versus BJP.
Yeah, Zaka, I think there will be one section of the opposition which will continue to mock Rahul Gandhi for being a non-serious politician. But they also have to now, I think, recalibrate their way of, mocking him, because he has made the effort. He has got out of that comfort zone that he was in. He has undertaken this yatra. Now, if this is the
Akbaruddin ji, namaste, Jai Hind. What a big day it is today. How significant is this development?
Anand, it's great to be with you today on a day when Indian diplomacy has scored. It scored because terrorism is one of the major planks of Indian foreign policy, because it impacts on our ordinary Indians in such egregious ways. So, designation of a terrorist is always an occasion of success, and I'm glad to join you today on this occasion.
How can you take us through the journey, because you've been through this process? So what has changed, and what not too many people are talking about is China holding back. How did that happen, Akbaruddin ji? It's a big development.
So you're right, Anand. When we started counterterrorism as a foreign policy plank, it was not widely accepted. It took us 10 years of efforts to get Masood Azhar designated at the UN by the Sanctions Committee. This time, it's taken less than 10 months. So you can see that the pace of our counter-terrorism activities has speeded up very much. Now, you mentioned about China. China has unfortunately been the godfather of all terrorists when they are to be sanctioned in the committee. They tried with Masood Azhar repeatedly. They also blocked or put on hold the present designation of Makki. However, 6 months while India was on the Security Council, we pushed hard and it made perhaps China realize that they are isolated. China is one of those states which doesn't like to be isolated. So I presume they had a rethink of it and they backed off, realizing that this doesn't pay any dividends for them because terrorism is now, countering terrorism is now increasingly becoming a global norm.
Pakistan cornered from all sides, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, financial doldrums, epicenter of terror, people in distress, civil war-like situations, 2 provinces on the verge of balkanization, and then Shehbaz Sharif suddenly softens his tune, but they still can't drop this Kashmir rhetoric.
Yes, but rhetoric is that much, and we don't need to look too much at Pakistan. It is yesterday's problem. We have better goals to fulfill. We shouldn't focus too much on Pakistan. Yes, we need to continue to put pressure. We need not respond to their assiduous request towards us, but our focus is at the globe now. We are now the G20 president. We need to engage the North and the South. We need to be the bridge builder between East and the West. 2023 is India's breakthrough here. So let's focus on bigger issues. Hopefully, Pakistan and China realize that yesterday's weapons are no longer in and stop using them. Otherwise, we have other...
One of the most wanted terrorists in the world, the number 2 in the Jamaat-ud-Dawa, Abdul Rahman Makki, was today blacklisted by the United Nations Security Council. It is a significant move because his prescribing was put on hold by China, Pakistan's fair weather friend, for the last 6 months. By doing what it did today, by lifting that technical hold, is China sending a softening signal to India? More importantly, will this help bring the likes of other proscribed terrorists, Hafiz Saeed, Masood Azhar, and others who are yet to be proscribed by the UN Sanctions Committee 1267, will they finally face justice for various acts of terror carried out here in India? But first, the story.
We welcome the decision of the UN Security Council's ISI and Al-Qaeda Sanctions Committee to list Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorist Abdul Rahman Makki. India remains committed to pursuing a zero-tolerance approach to terrorism.
Those who are involved and who are complicit in acts of terrorism should be brought to book. Terrorists are made accountable for their actions.
Backed off, realizing that this doesn't pay any dividends for them because terrorism is now, countering terrorism is now increasingly becoming a global norm.
But first things first, who exactly is Abdul Rahman Makki and why is his blacklisting by the UN Sanctions Committee such a big deal? He is the deputy chief of the Lashkar-e-Taiba.